Well, everyone, we've come to the end of stage 1 of our first ever monk life meditation in person, non-duality, trauma healing retreat. We've arrived, we've gone to the bush, we've gone to the outback, and now we'll go to stage 2 in another place in Australia. And there Aditya will be following on, and our beloved sister and mother and daughter of the Sangha will be separating today. So gratitude and love for you, Lee. You want to share?
I prepared something, if that's okay.
You've prepared something to share with the community.
Yes.
All right.
I have.
That's great. You can all listen close.
Hello, everybody. I wanted to give thanks to all the friends and family that have followed in the journey along the way. Om Mani Padme Hum. The supporters, especially Shelley B for the Starlink, my sister Kelly and her partner Matthew. Without them, I wouldn't be sitting here. So in your influence, so thank you to Jessie and the kids, because you guys are beautiful, and to the bird, because the word is the bird. The elders of the Arabana people, Reg and Kuchi, thank you for opening us with your open heart and open minds. To Wally B for PM. I want to thank my car. Sounds weird, but it's, being a vehicle to, take us through all these magical portals. So I'm in appreciation of my car. And David for feeding my cat. And my cat, I love you. I love you, kitty. I'm coming home soon. My mom. Thanks, Mom. My son, Axe and Vader. You guys are awesome. Following the journey. My nephews, Sam, Kane, Lockie, Bliss, and Zenith. Thank all the people. Show great gratitude to all the people I haven't met yet. I want to thank the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, which is like a concept before, but now it seems a bit more real from having this experience. The land and the spirits, the generosity of the donors. I want to thank Aditya, because he's my brother, my son, and I think the person that you were when we started is a different person to who you are now, and I loved you then and I love you now, so thank you so much. It's a pleasure and honor to know you and have you in, such an integral part. I couldn't have done this without you, to be honest, to be able to debrief, and that's been an integral part of my journey. So to Louis and Wayne and the family who are going to support me on my way home, hopefully. I want to thank Dr. Rob especially. Thank you. This has been the trip of a lifetime. Life is a trip, being straight, it's the biggest trip you'll ever have, so just keep breathing and you can do it. What else? Bless you. I want to also acknowledge that I have completely 100% consented to all of this the whole way. I really have, from my heart. Thank you to the haters, to the lovers, all of you out there in the intraweb. Thank you so much. I just hope that, other people have benefited from watching my existential crisis mark, infinity. And I fully recommend you have your own self-inquiry and do your own work and practice. It works. It really does work. I'm proof of that because I'm so happy to be alive. I'm so happy to be here in this moment. It's just like a gift. So that's absolutely wonderful. And I wanted to mention the ancestors too, thank them, and the ants. And Anthony Zen, you're awesome. Yeah, you're a legend. And without you, Anthony Zen, and I mean, you introduced me to Dr. Rob, and without you, you're so beautiful and loving and kind, and I'm always going to be here for you forever. We're friends forever. You're on my suitcase. You and Shelley, you're on my suitcase. So that's not many people on my suitcase, but you're there, and I knew that. So thank you. And this is why, it's just incredible. So thank you so much. The bird, I know I probably said the bird, but the bird again, because she's my savior, my counselor, and a very strong, powerful woman, and her family too. So, and the measure of a good teacher is in his students, and I hope that I have measured up in some way. I'm doing my best. Give thanks to the Buddhist communities along the way. So many lessons. I can't even articulate or quantify the lessons. Grateful for all the food to nourish our souls and our hearts and our minds. The firewood, the sacred fire, and Uncle, and our deceased people who are always with us. So thank you. The water, the oxygen. Without it, we wouldn't exist. The last 24 hours has been especially trying for me. I knew in a way that this would happen because at the end of a really long journey, the hardest part is always the last bit, and that's where the magic happens, honestly, when you're completely out of your comfort zone. And it's definitely, I've been there, and I've been really raw, and not as in, I've been wanting to be raw, but I'm raw, burnt by the fire. But good, good scars. It's good to be scarred.
Thank you, mate.
Ooh, more food.
Oh, very nice.
I just want to acknowledge how this journey began through my offering. When I heard Dr. Rob wanted to go on this quest, come to our wide brown land of Australia, and I just genuinely felt really strongly about supporting him in any way that I can, like I would do with most people if, I felt such a resonance with the teachings, and it's just really made such a big difference in my life. So, and through that generosity, which the van didn't work out, but I still came good with my offer of which is what I was offering. I am the van, or there is no van. It's a very Zen teaching, but here we are. So that's awesome. What else? I'm trying to from, what does that say? From my own experience, what is it? Oh, been the giver and the receiving of compassion. So it really is true, Dr. Rob is very authentic and genuine, and a kind, loving person, and such an honor to be here in real life, IRL, to experience this. It's been life-altering. Like, very hard to describe, but... the wisdom too. 'Cause everyone has wisdom, so... But I've been on the receiving end of a lot of wisdom and a lot of stories, so thank you so much for sharing with me. Thank you. And if you can offer, your heart, your mind, your bank account balance freely and willingly, if you can afford it, give what you can. Why not? Because good things happen. And your happiness is my happiness, and your laughter is my laughter. So last bit, your pain is my pain. So it's a gift, all of it. So it's been an honor. Thank you for sharing. It's really been such an honor to share this whole spiritual quest and journey with everyone. Everything, everyone, all the beings, spirit beings, living beings, all of it. And my last thing is I wanted to do a metabana. Which always is, anyway. May all beings everywhere be forgiven. May we be free from suffering. May the path to enlightenment illuminate the shadows of doubt for all to see and be free, just to be. May the light of the Buddha resonate across the land, its inhabitants, the stars, and beyond the universe contained within each of us, healing, supporting, and guiding us all as we share this moment, aware of all its shapes and forms. May your real eyes be open to mindfulness, meditation, awareness, and feel the connection to spirits beyond life and death. May your souls be open to the teachings of those most innocent, such as the children, animals, and flowers, and especially those most vulnerable among us. May we share wisdom of the ancestors and our personal direct experience to resonate in the hearts and minds of one another, giving and receiving freely without resentment. All we have, and more, transcending time and space, to water the seed of liberation in our souls, so each of us may grow a magnificent tree and provide nourishment and compost to all the souls of this wide open, sacred and ancient land and sky. May we all be blessed to travel and arrive safely and supported in this moment, the here and now. May it be, may it be, may it truly, truly be. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Lee.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me a platform and opportunity to share. I really appreciate that. It's very kind.
You made somebody cry. Puppy in New Zealand, I think.
Good. Blessing. I don't really believe in the make somebody cry kind of thing, but because everyone's responsible for their own reactions, but I understand the sentiment and I'm very grateful.
Some poetry. All those I meet say the world's ways are hard. Even in a solitary hut, they can't find peace. Besides Yuan Ming announcing his retirement, who else mentions resigning? Note, Tao Yanming lived in the late 4th and early 5th centuries and is revered as one of China's greatest poets. Certainly its greatest poet, extolling the retired life. Finding the demands of government service not to his liking, he quit his post and retired to a farmstead at the foot of Lushan at the age of 40. Tao celebrated his decision in his ode to retirement, which began, "Oh, let me retire. Let socializing end and wandering stop. Let the world and me say goodbye." Another poem. There's nothing going on in my mountain kitchen. I hear the spring melting, but the sky says snow. Facing the wall, meditating in vain. Again, this old monk thinks of begging in town. I plant winter melon, then aubergine. I wear myself out staying alive. But someone who wants a decent kitchen needs to keep a garden nearby. Will the porridge or rice ever end? Will the sun or moon ever rest? Either way, it's no concern of mine. So many fantasies arise in vain. Eight or 9 pines behind his hut, 2 or 3 mounds of taro in front. A mountain recluse doesn't have many interests. All he talks about are his provisions. This is something no one can force. Besides knowing it's there, there's nothing to know. Once the moon shines above a flowering plum, it's too late to look at the blossoms. Note, Zen Buddhists liken any teaching to a finger pointing to the moon. Once you've seen the moon, you don't need to look at the finger. What's gone is already gone, and what hasn't come needs no thought. Right now, I'm writing a right now line. Plums are ripe and gardenias in bloom. The rain, the beautiful rain. How simple it is. To call it beautiful, I've cut off one of my own 2 feet. Three or four naps every day still don't exhaust all my free time. I walk around the jade bamboo a few times, then hike past the pines and gaze at far mountains. The flux of attachments is easy to stop, but it's hard all at once to end love and hate. I laugh at the mountain for towering so high, and the mountain mocks me for being so skinny. Note, love is desire, hate is anger, and delusion. These make up the 3 poisons that turn the wheel of rebirth. True emptiness is clear and always present, masked by delusions for reasons we don't know. How could what is real and false exist apart? Flowers bloom and flowers fall, when the spring wind blows. Note, true emptiness is also empty of emptiness, and thus includes all things. True emptiness is clear and always present, masked by delusions for reasons we don't know. How could what is real and false exist apart? Flowers bloom and flowers fall when the spring wind blows. Sky Lake is a pool of aquamarine red fog, is a screen of crimson brocade. Regarding what is present before your eyes, why press your hands together and ask an old monk? Sky Lake is a pool of aquamarine. Red fog is a screen of crimson brocade. Regarding what is present before your very eyes, why press your hands together and ask an old monk? Old and exhausted, I am truly lazy. No folded hands at dawn anymore. To those who visit, I have nothing to say. Their trek to my hut is such a waste of effort. Once you realize universal emptiness, all situations are naturally mastered. You have perfect communion with what is beyond the world, while embracing what is within all realms of being. If you miss the essence of Zen, after all, there's nothing to it. If you get its function, it has spiritual effect. The real way of non-minding is not a school for petty people. So the emphasis on generosity and the emphasis on giving and self-sacrifice is really to eliminate our pettiness, because we are very petty with all our possessions and our ownership and our managing for our future, and then it all applies to other people. So this way of non-minding it's like having to just sit out in the rain and endure. Your pettiness is just a dream, a fantasy of another world and another life where you'd be God or you'd be the king or something like that. So yeah, your generosity or your presence or your practice and all of that is this lived experience and willingness to not be petty. Because we can continuously be petty with one another. Well, he did that, and she said that, and I was like this at that time, and then etc. etc. So this is all just a kind of pettiness, and this is really a waste of our lives and a waste of everything. All these conditions that are here that don't need to provoke us to busyness, but actually can allow us to retire from this struggle of managing a life of someone, somewhere, in all these situations. So it's not a struggle to break through, but it's a realizing of how much release is on the table. So we think our pettiness gets us a better cappuccino or a worse cappuccino or whatever, and that's somehow meaningful. But actually, it's not as meaningful as being able to be free in every condition, in every situation. So that all situations are naturally mastered. So you don't have to do anything to master those situations or figure it out. You let the awareness or let the Buddha take the wheel, and you're just along for the ride of non-minding. Oh, I don't mind. That's okay. So we can give it to each other, we can give it to ourselves, we can give it to everything. Oh, that's okay, I don't mind. Someone asked Master Zhu Do, as it is said, the one road beyond is not transmitted by any of the masters. So, where did you get it? Where did you get this attainment or this realization? Where did you get this wisdom? Where did you get this ability to not attach or to not be upset or whatever, to be free? And Master Zhu Do replied, I thought you were a Zen practitioner. So what are you talking about? I thought you were someone who could let go. I thought you were someone who could say, I don't mind. Where the sword wheel flies, sun and moon lose their shine. When the jewel staff strikes, heaven and earth lose their color. Through this experience, all devils' guts burst. Through this experience, all sages' eyes open. When you illuminate your perception, your eyes are like 1,000 suns, so that nothing can escape notice. Ordinarily, people have just never been so observant, but they should not give up in frustration because of underestimating themselves. Someone asked Master Zhu Do again, what is your manner of teaching? Zhu Do replied, when guests come, one should see them. So we were talking about that feeling of maybe the rumbles in the tummy, My mom used to say, maybe you need to go sit on the pot. But, that feeling of anxiety or energy. And this is Zhu Do's teaching. When guests come, when experience come, when sensations come, one should see them. Once, there was a Zen elder who didn't talk to his group at all during a retreat. One of the group said, "This way, I've wasted the whole retreat. I don't expect the teacher to explain Buddhism. It would be enough to hear the two words, absolute truth." The elder heard of this and said, "Don't be so quick to complain. There is not even a single word to say about absolute truth." Then, when he had said this, he gnashed his teeth and said it was pointless to say that. In the next room was another elder who overheard this and said, "A fine pot of soup, befouled by 2 rat droppings. Whose pot hasn't 1 or 2 droppings in it?" The river of Zen is quiet, even in the waves. The water of stability is clear, even in the waves. Well, taking up the way, Poppy, it's like already being home. There's no journey to get home. One is already home. And so the guest that comes, the sensation or the thought or the situation or the experience or whatever, is just to be seen. You don't have to try to run away from them or face them. You're already home. You don't have to do anything. But what arrives is naturally seen. When you're already home, which everyone is already home. I am home. I am home. This is it. Here and now. I am home. I am home. Seekers should open their own eyes. Don't let yourselves in for regret later. On. Zen cannot be reached by psychic powers or by cultivation of special experiences. Zen cannot be discussed by means of the knowledge or intelligence of the merely learned. So the words that we gather are pointless, basically. Don't try to use words. It's better if you try to not use words. And if you use words, just turning your own experience, your own experiential basis of questioning and looking and contemplating here and now. Someone asks a question, you say, wait a minute. Not I need to think about this, but I need to kind of look into my own experience. And it's almost creating a new language based on that. The universal body of reality is so subtle that you do not hear it when you deliberately listen for it, and you do not see it when you look at it. As for the pure knowledge that has no teacher, how could it ever be attained by thought or study? Would you like to share anything you did to you?
Someone asking.
Well, just in general, you can share, I guess, about this leg of the trip. Maybe tell people like what the trip has been so far.
Well,
Maybe bring it a little bit closer because the mic is out. Here's the hook there.
how the trip's been so far. So it's been really interesting, you know. I picked up Mr. Rob from the airport, I think exactly like 2 weeks ago. And then we went to the Meta convention in Western Sydney Uni. And then from then we both caught a train to Melbourne, and then a train from Melbourne to north of Melbourne where Lee picked us up, and we stayed in her place for a few nights. Yeah, and then from then we kind of spontaneously decided to go visit one of Lee's old mates, who lives pretty much by himself in a kind of small, I wouldn't even call it town because there's only like 2 little houses there in the outback in South Australia. And you know, I was pleasantly surprised that the people that we visited in Mari and the outback towns, or whatever it was, just the desert, were very intelligent, very thoughtful, respectable people. Because I don't know, I didn't really know what kind of individuals would be out there and what kinds of things they think about or talk about or do with themselves. But yeah, I was really surprised and pleasantly surprised how thoughtful they were. So yeah, we spent a few nights in the outback, like truly deep in the outback, you know. We saw emus, lizards, all kinds of eagles, which you don't normally see in the city. Different kinds of birds. And yeah, I think I was just thinking to myself while Rob was talking about how would I kind of answer like my family and friends back in Sydney as to like why I went on this trip. And the honest answer is I don't really know, and I still don't really know. But if I have to conjure up some kind of practical answer, it would be just deconditioning the mind. And there's this word that pops to mind, which is ground zero. And it's something that I've actually heard, ground zero or 0 point, kind of in this space on the internet. Like I've started to hear that word, and I think getting accustomed to that ground zero, whatever that means, has been important for myself.
What about your experience with Dr. Rob?
Lee's asking me how was my experience with Dr. Rob. It maybe, you know, I don't know. I don't really think I have any kind of I didn't really have any rigid expectations of what this trip was going to look like. And I think my perspective is not so intertwined with this teacher-student relationship. And what I mean by that is not to say that I think of us as equals or anything like that, but I see Mr. Rob more as kind of a vehicle to reorient us to the ground zero, or to the present, which in actuality is more synonymous with the real teacher, so to speak. And I think I'm really grateful and really honored to notice his I really think that, and I haven't met many people who have that quality of, whatever you want to call it, compassion and non-judgment and truly, as much of this wrath or craziness that might seem to manifest, I feel very, or my nervous system at least, feels very safe to let go and be at ease around his character. Initially as well, I think it's kind of inevitable and expected to sort of have your guard up and suss out this character or this situation. But as time progresses, I really really come to respect, Mr. Rob, Dr. Rob. And one kind of sentence or thought that has really stuck with me, and it's not so much as a new realization, but kind of a reaffirmation of what already I seem to kind of understand on a deeper level, which is that this suffering and this sense of discomfort is a resource, and that perspective can help us reorient away from constantly being in this modality of criticizing that discomfort, and more so becoming intimate with that discomfort. And you guys, if you've been watching for a while or in this kind of spiritual sphere of stuff, may have heard like the saying, which I'm paraphrasing, the way isn't around, but it's through, and it's through that discomfort or through that suffering, or however you label it.
Well, this is not a medical doctorate. This is just a designated representative for this body and mind. Well, I wouldn't want to confuse people by them thinking that I'm actually Rob. Actually, I'm the designated representative for the person formerly known as Rob, the body and mind formerly identified as Rob. So that's why the doctor is very important, or the Mr. or the Rob or whatever, once you get acquainted and connected, you know what I mean? No, not a doctor. Just a doctor. Just a DR. Just a designated representative. Kind of like the difference between a PhD and a medical doctor. So this is just a doctor that's not a PhD or a medical doctor. This is a self-arising designated representative status concerned with mindfulness and detachment without limits. Concerned with right view, the view of non-self. I hope so, but like some of these Zen teachings that we're reading is not to be gotten or not to be understood through thinking. So it's the subtlety of it all. It's the immeasurable subtlety of something that can't be seen when directly looked at, that can't be heard when listened for. You can't see it as you see it. You can't hear it as you hear it. You can't feel it as you feel it. There's a lot of hard problems, psychologically or socially, that this kind of practice and practicing together naturally kind of let come out, and then we intuitively can create solutions for that. So for example, you might think, as a spiritual seeker or even someone who wants to be an influencer, that you'd like to be me or you'd like to be like me. But I can tell you for sure that you wouldn't. You wouldn't like to have gone through what I've gone through for sure, because I wouldn't have liked to go through what I went through. There's an anime called One Piece. You ever seen One Piece?
I know One Piece.
There's a part of it where the main character Luffy has been beaten up. And now the person who's Luffy's friend is standing in front of him against this enemy and thinks that he's going to be able to take this enemy on. And then the enemy says, you think you can take this on? Well, let me give you 1% of Luffy's pain. 1% of Luffy's, challenges or whatever that have gotten him to be Luffy or whatever. And he did that, he transferred that. And the guy's electrocuted. So, but that's just all these problems of self and the notion of self and the notion of wrong view that keep perpetuating problems rather than perpetuating solutions. And then we have a meditation retreat that's fully formalized and fully structured and all that. We might have some good deep experiences, but it's going to have not so much to do with our actual life or our natural life. But those meditation retreats, if you're in that, then that's also your natural life. So. And God forbid that we tilt our heads back and laugh, at everything, at anything. So better to laugh than to fight, Better to plant good seeds than water bad seeds in our lives. So whatever trap we get in, like walking in the forest and we put our foot in a bear trap, don't worry about whose trap that is, how you ended up there, what kind of metal it's made out of. Push on the sides, let it open up, and keep walking. Period. And sometimes we can't walk because the trap's so heavy, so we just got to sit down. Sometimes we can't open the trap, but we can walk with it, so we just walk with the trap on our foot. just constantly continuing justifying what we're doing to be right. We don't need to be right. As much as you might be right, you might be wrong. So let it be fine, whether it's right or wrong. It's okay. You don't need to justify it. Like, how do you justify the wrongness of death? It just is. You learn to go with the flow of it. We don't try to manage someone else's life or someone else's identity. You have love, have compassion, have kindness, but also you mind your own business. It's like complaining at the local grocery store that you're drinking from a poisoned well. Maybe don't do that. And not maybe, definitely don't do that unless you want to be poisoned. So you have to use your own discernment and your own intuition. If you're using something that doesn't suit you, there's probably a lot of attachment in that. So you're not going to be able to use it without attachment. So maybe just put it down. And if you can't put it down, pick it up and go. Nothing wrong with that. In this wide out expanse of awareness, maybe there are guests of sensations in the stomach area, or sounds, or sights, or thoughts. So, be that awareness that meets and faces those guests. Usually taking action against evil is just an ego trip, more than anything else. The evil that you see in the world is the evil in you. If you really want to take action against evil, then you should try to meditate seriously, or I don't know, find a way to get shipped over to Gaza, or join the and it's not just about evil, it's more about suffering. People's need, people's suffering. You focus so much on the evil or the bad person or the bad situation, you're not helping the people that are in need. In a practical way, not in some kind of egoic way about you fighting against someone else. Go and dig some wells for India. Go and hand out some food to the meth addicts and homeless people in your area. We say, well, I've done that. Well, good, do it more. Exhaust yourself in doing that. See what happens. The noise, it noises, noisy, noisy, noise, noise, noise. The noise, it noises. So just listen. Listen to the noise as if it were a subtle, mysterious sound that was speaking to you. Listen like that. This is a very fundamental teaching of the Buddha on mind training that we can find in the Bahia Sutta. Hearing without conceiving about what's heard. That, very common to have some anxiety or some sensations, some feelings in the belly area. Experience that without thinking about or conceiving about what is experienced. See without conceiving about what is seen. Hear without conceiving about what is heard. Feel without conceiving about what is felt. Allow thoughts to happen without thinking about thoughts that happen. This feeling and this experiencing is kind of relaying a subtlety that thoughts cannot reach. So we're actually learning experientially the irrelevance of thoughts. Okay, that's all for now, friends. See you on the other side. See you again soon. Thank you for your practice. Thank you for your presence and all that jazz. Thank you for your support. Okay, see you again soon.